What is up, guys? I think we are live. We're trying some new stuff out today, so hopefully
It's not
you guys can
super
see us.
broken. Hopefully it's not super broken. I don't know. Audio check. Chat, how we doing? Good. Can you hear us? Are we okay?
Sweet.
I was just totally... That was pretty seamless.
Yeah.
It's never this seamless. It's never this easy.
And we can see everybody.
It's
Let's
all
see.
in one place. Can we even throw that up
Oh
on the
my
screen somehow?
gosh. It's on there now, buddy.
Ooh.
We can see Twitch and YouTube all in the same place. We are legitimate. We're doing it.
Now we're handsome. Dang, that's
Sick,
crazy.
dude.
Let's go. Let's go.
We're getting better.
We're learning.
Well,
Our professors would be so proud that we managed
I
to
know, man.
tech our way through life.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy to see Twitch and YouTube at the same.
Bro, that's
Place.
nice. That's like really nice. It looks
John
good.
3708, you're stuck with me every week. We're co-hosts.
It's a thing, man. Well, apparently he just. All right. Well, Declan's gone. It's just me, boys. Just stuck with me, and then he gets to leave. How are we doing, chat? Who got Declan out of here? What happened? What up, Xbox gamer? I apologize in advance, chat. I'm going to be eating during this podcast. I'm starving. I've had a really busy morning, so apologies in advance for the disturbing sounds you're going to hear. Anyway, how's everyone doing? I did not kill the call. What do you mean, bro? No, I did not pin the Pirate Tire template. Who wins the vote? What vote? You should try out Fortnite. Yeah, probably should. Probably should at some point. Screw you, YouTube. I gotta figure out how to like weaponize YouTube versus Twitch one of these days.
I think we could do a bot of some sort and like create a program.
Well, it's just some random mic for you. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
it's not
okay.
the good one. I'm not scared of Helldivers 2 Stalkers. Wow, that's brave man. I'm scared of those. Those things are freaky. Anyway, welcome everybody to the Practically Reality Podcast. Every week we go live at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and we talk about gaming and tech news.
Heck yeah.
Not really sure what we're going to talk about this week. There's a couple of things we could talk about. We didn't really talk. Usually Declan and I kind of message back and forth, but I've had a crazy week. So
what's been going on?
I have gotten reached out to by several studios requesting my expertise in TikTok.
So
that has been an interesting conversation. I know a lot of people have like started to notice my voice has been popping up in a couple of other channels. So people have been asking like, hey, are you open to running more TikTok accounts? That's been in discussion.
I'm telling you, man. Let's make a not an agency, but a publisher. There we go. The Practically Reality Publishing.
And the problem is, I've said this before, I am but one man.
Well, exactly. Then you'll get me. We'll do it together. We'll hold hands and jump into the abyss together.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all. I don't know, dude. It's hard though, because like TikTok is such an interesting platform. And like I've been very lucky to get a couple of things that have hit really hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's not really rhyme or reason to it. I just kind of take inspiration from sources that I see in my feed and whatnot and try it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But people have started to think that like I'm actually intelligent about the things that I do, which is not the case. And some like I you know, like I feel bad because sometimes like the stuff that I present to them, I'm like, I think this will work.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Like people are like, well, so like how fast can we grow this? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I don't know what the algorithm's gonna do or anything like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. So
I think that's the secret. Nobody does. Like even the big marketer people.
I don't know. Like this is the thing. Like my personality, I am not the kind of person who is gonna just like lie to your face and say like, yeah, it's gonna be great. Man,
Yeah.
I will be realistic with you. I'll be like, I mean, it might work. I don't
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
not very many people actually like that. But I'm kind of like, bro, I don't know.
that's the thing about like digital marketing. The thing that it is right now is like nobody can predict what's going to be viral, what's going to hit well, what audiences are going to want, and what they're going to like. So it's all kind of a guess at this point. And I mean, you recognize that. I think other marketing people recognize that. They just don't say it out loud. So
Yeah,
I think you're kind of going through the same thing that most marketers feel when it comes to like the digital age.
the thing is too is like yesterday, for example, I'm in this meeting and this guy is telling me like his marketing like resume. And
Yeah.
it's like super impressive. The dude had worked for several actual like like companies like game development companies have made amazing trailers and done all these cool things. And he's like, but I can't do TikTok, man. Like you need to help us with
Mm.
TikTok. And I'm like, that's very intimidating to have like
This guy.
people like that, like people who like legitimately have a marketing job, whereas I feel like I've only just on maybe it's imposter syndrome a little bit where I'm just like, I
For
do
sure.
not deserve the amount of praise that I have gotten, but hey, here we are.
Yeah. I think that comes with anything. And like you have a proven track record, though. That's the thing. I don't think you have to like hit every viral thing, but you're obviously on the pulse of what is popular and you're in the world of socials. So that really helps.
At least more so than like I guess these old marketing guys. Not old, but just
Yeah.
like it was just funny though, because like in this conversation, I was in this meeting and I was just kind of like looking at the potential project and whatnot, and he like just this guy, you could tell he was like a professional marketer, because he was like going through like terms and things that I was just like, I have no idea what you're talking about, bro, but I know you could do this, and it usually works. And anyway, it'll be interesting to see. Number one, if they want to keep working with me, and number two, if like if like I keep working, if it keeps working, like the stuff that I come up with, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and
we'll see.
I guess chat, like you guys obviously like Sale, right? You guys kind of trust Garrett. If Garrett was to kind of put his stamp of approval on a game, is that something that you guys would play? Like if would you trust his opinion on a lot of the games that he's recommending? Like if we did do something where we helped companies like get wider audiences and like we said, hey, this is a PR approved game, do you think would you guys play it?
Not too much pressure, dude. Not too much pressure. That's way too much pressure. Because like I feel like anyone who's listening to this podcast for the what are we at? We at episode 10 now? 8?
Yeah.
Anyone who's listening to like the 8 episodes we've been at knows that I have a very particular I'm very particular. But hey man, I don't know. I've been wrong before. I'm not perfect, chat. I'm not perfect. But
yeah, I think we've talked about it with the meta market opening up so much with their new shop. Like there's just going to be so many apps and people aren't going to get to know like what is actually out there. Like looking through the marketplace is going to be crazy because there's going to be tons of new games added so regularly. You're going to have a voice of reason saying like, hey, I approve this game, I don't approve this game. Like this one sucks. It's not worth your time. We work with these people. Or, I mean, I'm sure there will be developers looking for publishers just as like the social clout. Like having social clout is so important. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch that develop.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. That feels like a lot of pressure to put myself out there as the golden standard of what is and what is not good.
That's the thing. It doesn't have to be the golden standard. It can kind of be just like you like it, right? I mean, I always talk about Devolver Digital.
Right.
When I play a game that's published by Devolver Digital, I know what the game is going to be. I know I'm
That's fair.
probably going to enjoy it. Like, it doesn't. Different publishers have different styles, just like different developers have different styles. You know, it would just essentially be saying like, "Hey, I played this. I believe in this game. I believe in it enough that I'm willing to invest my time into helping them be successful." That's really what a publisher is to me nowadays.
Yeah. And like Kermit in chat right now is like, Garrett, sell out to random games so you have more money to dev sale. That's my other thing is like I don't sell out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys knows about me, but I actually turned down several full-time job offers to keep going with sale. Like
Yeah.
I right out of college, instead of going and getting like a full-time job like most normal people do,
I
I
got sold
started
out.
a company. You know, like I turned down a really nice job for the United States government making VR simulations for the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
and decided to do what I'm doing now. And like I don't regret it in any way, but like you guys wouldn't have to worry about me selling out because I only back stuff that I think is cool or like I would actually put myself behind. Like anything you see on my channel that is like sponsored content, I only take sponsorships from like stuff that I actually think is worthwhile. I will not promote anything on any of my stuff that isn't from that I don't actually believe in. So
Yeah.
that's the Garrett guarantee right there.
Well, I mean, I think that adds value to like what a publisher would be. I mean, it's something that I think you and I will continue to talk about for a while. Like, I think there's so much value in it, and like, if I had the following and stuff right now, that's definitely a direction that I would be going. I think that just like helping people find stuff that's worthwhile is going to be important. So, I don't know, stuff to think about. I mean, we would even be able to like put stuff on here. We could play sponsored games on the PR podcast streams, and I don't know. It's something that's interesting, something that I've thought about a lot, and I'm sure you have too. But we could talk about it for hours, so we should probably talk about something else. Actually, chat.
Anyway, what's everyone been up to? What's new in the world?
So I've been obsessed with a video game.
You have?
Yes. So there's a game that I've been waiting for 6 years to come out. I backed it on Kickstarter in 2018. Is that when it was? I mean, it feels like a decade. It feels like I backed it a long time ago. There's a streamer called Raynad that I liked who streamed Hearthstone back in the day. And he made a deck building game called The Bazaar. And I remember seeing like his initial sketches for it, all the new content for it. And I finally got a notification saying, "Hey, The Bazaar is in public or in closed beta, and because you backed it, here's your key to get in and play." And I have been playing it so much. It is so much fun. It's going to probably be one of the next big competitive like card games, I think. But it's fun because it's a deck builder, so you're not like ripping packs and like buying tons of loot boxes to get good cards. You buy a character, and then the character has like a set of 100+ items that they can use, and it's just random draws and random like shops and things that you can get to unlock cards. So you're buying a character that comes with cards that are unique to them. It's very, very different than a lot of other. It's different than a lot of other card games. So yeah, not like Magic the Gathering or not like Pokemon or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's not necessarily a card game, I guess. It's a drafting game, is what they're calling it.
Okay.
It's kind of like Teamfight Tactics, which is a League of Legends type auto battling chess game. So you don't like play cards. The round kind of plays itself. It's all auto done. But I would highly recommend looking it up if you're interested in card games at all. Like I love it. I've been playing it like an addict. I've been watching streams on it. I've been watching YouTube videos. Like it is one of my top games I've played so far this year out of the new stuff that I've played.
I have never been into deck builders.
Really?
Granted, I've never really tried one. So
Yeah.
like what would be like a good icebreaker for like a deck building game?
Do you want a video game or a
Video game. Don't give me physical crap.
Okay, I really like Slay the Spire. I feel like Slay the Spire is a deck building roguelike. It's probably the first big one that like hit the industry and is super popular. You can get Slay the Spire for your mobile phone or for Steam. I think you can buy it on pretty much any platform now. It's a lot of fun.
All right. I see.
And then another one that I like is Frost. Let me find it. Frost something. I have it on my Steam account. Let me pull it up. But yeah, it's another kind of game like that. I enjoy roguelikes and I enjoy deck building games, so I play a lot of roguelikes and stuff. One of them I've been playing a lot actually too is called Gunfire Reborn. It's a first-person shooter roguelike. It's a lot of fun. I would highly. If you like first-person shooters, I think it's a really fun first-person shooter. I play that a lot. I mean, you know Matt Bentley. Matt Bentley and I play it almost every Saturday.
We gotta get Matt on this podcast sometime, dude.
I
like
wonder.
He'd be like the funny third man to give us that tribunal type stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be funny. So it's interesting that you bring up like a hero builder and stuff because Ubisoft just released a game, and I talked about it this week on one of my posts.
Is it the NFT one?
The NFT one. Have you looked at it at all, dude?
I have seen stuff about it a little bit.
So, I mean, in theory, it's like, see this. I've talked about this before on here, I think, but I want to say it again. The concept behind NFTs, I truly believe, will eventually end up inside of video games, right?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, NFT stands for non-fungible token, right? And the whole idea behind an NFT is it is a way for you to own something in a digital space. So what they do is they take some kind of item or whatever in, like, obviously most people have used it for like pictures and stuff on the internet. Like there was those monkeys that like went crazy. And basically that image or item, that digital thing was connected to the blockchain. And if you guys don't know about the blockchain, we need to do like a whole thing. Go look it up on YouTube for a good tutorial on that. But anyway, using blockchain technology, you are able to verify that you are the owner of a digital item, which in turn allows you to, have value with it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I do think that eventually in video games, it would be really cool to be able to prove like I am the unique owner of this one-of-a-kind item that exists in a world. But NFTs have such a bad connotation to them and everything that it is going to take a very, very well-placed anything for it to go well, Yeah. So, Declan's showing on screen this game that's going on. It's called Champion Tactics, the Grimoria Chronicles. And basically every single hero you get is an NFT. Like it is a unique hero with unique abilities. But like they went full NFT on this and they're like, oh, and you can trade it for currency. And here's our cryptocurrency and the value is blah, 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 blah. And basically everything I'm seeing on it right now is that it is dumpster fire. It is totally up in flames. And
really, people don't like it.
No, not in the slightest. And I think a part of it is just because, number one, Ubisoft's in a bad spot, right? Like their stock prices are
stupid stuff,
horrible. And it's like, okay, you guys need to do something really smart right now in order to like come back. And instead they pulled this crap. And it's like, dude, like, anyway, so
that's interesting. I feel like, well, they've had a couple projects that have fallen flat recently. I feel like, And let's think of what Ubisoft's main IP is that they do well at, right? Isn't it Assassin's Creed? Isn't that,
Assassin's
like,
Creed, I would
basically
argue, is their big one.
Ubisoft?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like classic Ubisoft, which they have a title in development that is already being met with like a lot of political stuff, which I think is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But like furthermore, they're trying to, so they're doing like a samurai one, right? That's the next one. It's called
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they are competing against a title that came out. You heard of this? What is it called? Ghost of it's called Ghost of Yote. That's what the sequel is
Okay.
called.
Yeah.
The original is called Ghost
Ghost of Tsushima.
Tsushima. Yeah. And that was a fantastic game. Like that is an incredible game. Beautiful game, incredible storyline, really fun fighting mechanics, great progression system. That was a solid game, you know? And it like swept the internet a year and a half ago or whenever it came out. And now that game is coming out in February, if I'm not mistaken. And now Assassin's Creed Shadow, the other samurai game, is going to have to compete with like the successor of an already extremely popular and successful samurai game. Like, just it's not smart. It's not smart at all. Like I would bail if I were them on releasing that until like 2026, honestly. But it's like they already announced it and everything, and they've already had to delay it. It's another dumpster fire.
It's just crazy to me. I feel like a lot of the big studios are just kind of letting people down. And like honestly, Ubisoft to me has been letting people down for a long time. Right. I don't feel like I've enjoyed an Ubisoft project in a while. I feel like what they did when they like worked on Assassin's Creed again, I feel like they changed some things that were really good, but I don't know. I feel like they just haven't been delivering on the way they used to deliver the Assassin's Creed products. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, people are, I really love the videos that show up in my TikTok feed where it's like, are we going backwards with games? Because we keep seeing that. Like I love the big one that happened this last year. Again, another Ubisoft title, Skull and Bones. Huge pirate game. They kept boasting this is a quadruple A game. Dumbest thing ever. Never come out and say this is a quadruple A game because that's like just instantaneous. You're gonna get throttled for it, right?
Yeah.
They like I saw tons of people comparing the ship combat of Skull and Bones, which is a 2024 title, to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which was a 2008 title, 2010. When did Black Flag come out? And they just made all these comparisons where it's like, how in 10 years did this go backwards? You know, like there's so much stuff. Like the biggest one that everyone was complaining about is like the ship combat in Black Flag, which came out in 2013. So again, this is like 10 years. 10 years between these two games. The ship combat in Black Flag was like, it was okay. But the funnest part about Assassin's Creed Black Flag for a lot of people was boarding ships and having this intense like melee combat in the Assassin's Creed style. That was awesome. And then they make this game where it's like, oh, it's ship combat only. You can't get off the game. It's no exploration. Like there's nothing, right? And people were pissed. Like, and I like, frankly, I agree with them. It's just like, dude, like, what were you thinking? You know? It's just like, what happened to the studio that you make a game in 2013 that is still renowned as one of the best pirate games ever made, and you make another game 10 years later that just falls flat on its face? You have the tech, you have like where did anyway? It's a whole thing, but no, it is crazy at this point, like how bad it's been getting.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like when studios become AAA studios, they become uninspired and they stick to what is safe, you know?
Right.
It might be because they have shareholders and stuff like that. You know, that's the classic excuse. Like you have people that you have to appease with your products that you're making, but I think that it kind of sucks as like a game player, also somebody that likes designing games. Like people aren't taking risks. We've talked about this before. I think that like once you become AAA, you just stop taking risks. And it's interesting to see like Call of Duty that they're taking a risk with the new movement and stuff in this game. But I think that's because they've been forced to because they haven't done anything to revolutionize their games in a while. People have been complaining. So I don't know. They don't take risks until they need to. And at that point, sometimes it's already too late, you know?
Yeah, I know it's so I feel like Matt Pat, one of the last videos he did on the Game Theory channel, or maybe it was the movie theories, is he talked about Disney. Because Disney is another one of these tech giants that in recent years has failed to produce the typical Disney magic.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting a little bit back with it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But you talked about how you should experiment as a company like this.
Yeah.
And I actually think Call of Duty is doing a good job with this because again, they gave Treyarch like 3 years to cook up something great, right? And what we got is Black Ops, and it's fantastic. I am really enjoying Black Ops. I play with my friends a lot, and we talk about how we were all like, I'm not buying this game. I'm not playing. This is garbage. And we all jumped into it for one reason or another. Most of us have it because of Game Pass, but we jumped into it and we're all like, dude, this is a blast. Omni movement is actually quite a bit of fun. The gameplay is super solid. It feels fair. Like it's the first Call of Duty feeling game that Call of Duty has released in several years. But anyway, go back to what Matt Pat said. He was saying, like, one of the things he did on his YouTube channel when he needed to like experiment with new content is he would sandwich it in between like
things that already
stuff that he knew would do well, right?
That's
like
cool.
Matt Pat's channel, like whenever they did a FNAF video, it would blow up on the internet. It didn't matter what. If they had FNAF in the title, they would get hundreds of millions of views, right? So what he would do is he would say, okay, let's take a risk and let's make a little bit of experimental video, but it's release it between this video that we're sure will do really well and this video, which will also do server well. So they go and would sandwich it between that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like game studios needed to do more of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
These AAA studios needed, like, you have your stuff that works. That's great. Keep updating and keep doing what you do. But you got to experiment still. You got to keep going on this stuff. And just as long as you're sandwiching it between the stuff that you know is going to work, eventually you're going to have another thing that you now know works. And you got to keep going about that, you know?
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it.
No, for sure. I feel like there are ways to continue to experiment. I just feel like
they just don't. You're right.
They don't. Yeah.
No, they totally don't. And I agree with you, like what you're saying about like shareholders. Mm-hmm. When you take on, so my company, we've been invested in by venture capitalists. Yeah. And obviously like venture capitalists and shareholders have different objectives than most people do, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I've been lucky to work with venture capitalists who are extremely like in the space and believe in like, you know, kind of the greater good type stuff. And it's been like awesome to work with them, but at the same time, you know, they're not in the thick of it every day. You know, they're not down in the trenches, and they definitely see things from a higher perspective, and they're trying to like help you build a company, you know, whereas a lot of times I'm kind of like, you know, I'm not necessarily building a company here. I'm trying to build like a, you know, something big. Right. And so it definitely gets convoluted in a lot of ways, but I don't know. It is interesting. I think about those bigger companies who have thousands of employees and like hundreds of millions of dollars at stake and stuff like those. That's got to be such hard things to make the business decisions, but then also make the gaming decisions. It's hard. I can only imagine how hard that is, but
yeah, I don't know. I feel like you do have responsibility to your shareholders, obviously, right? But you also have a responsibility to your demographic of players. I think one of the best examples of, you know, a company kind of not being true to their gamers was Blizzard when they announced Diablo Immortal. I will always remember that as one of the biggest fails in gaming history, because they got booed off of their own stage at their own conference.
That's like crazy.
Yeah. Hey everybody, we see a lot of new people coming in the chat. Just want to say hi. We do see you. You see us. You see your own chats on screen now. We're working out some new technical stuff. But yeah, I mean, I I actually had a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today, including like the topics that we've already kind of started. There were a couple of new VR games that have come out recently that I wanted to kind of share video on screen and talk about. Um, let's see. The first one is the Human Fall Flat VR. Obviously, we talked about this a little bit in one of our last podcast episodes, but have you seen much about it? I think their control
have.
mechanism is so cool.
Really, because I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on this.
I love like the third person VR. It's so different and so fun, and it's such a quirky game. I feel like it's a cool way to translate that quirkiness.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna play this on stream on Friday.
Sick.
Give it a try.
Yeah.
If I don't play that, there was something else that I was thinking about playing. There's another VR game I want to shout out that looks super funny that I want to give a try.
Is it the Dumb Ways to Die?
No.
Okay.
It's I need to find what's it called? It's basically, do you remember the game Getting Over It?
Yeah.
It's that in VR. Like somebody
Okay.
made that game but in VR, and it looks so funny. Like I just want to try it out because we were talking about this the other day. Like we were saying there's not really rage games in VR right now. And I was like, man, like I want to try it out, but this one looks funny as well. I have seen a few people complain that they were actually expecting it to be first person.
I get that. That'd be crazy complicated to get
I'm not sure how you would pull
physics
that off
working
from like a
right.
dev.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know if you would have had to do like some kind of lag mechanism where it's like your hands like come behind you or something.
Yeah.
Like, I think they could have pulled it off, but I also agree that I think that the way that they did it is funny. I think it's a good way to one-to-one translate it.
Yeah.
But
do you think well, we have Enchanted in here that's saying that they've played it. I'd love to see like what your opinion is of it. You said you didn't have a good experience.
Yeah,
so
Enchanted,
I'd love to
let us
see
know
why.
What happened.
Yeah.
It's really irritating, says Captain Pixis.
Okay.
Or was he talking about something else?
Oh, that's a different game. Yeah. Clam. So, I mean, this one looks fun to me. I enjoy Human Fall Flat, just that original game anyway.
Mhm.
So I think that this would be a lot of fun to jump in and check out. And then the other one that I did want to talk about was with this one. This one to me looks hilarious as well.
As seen on VR. Oh my.
It's the Dumb Ways to Die game.
Hey, it came out. Wait, did it come out?
I think it comes out today or tomorrow.
Oh.
Laser Scar, that's the fun part of Dumb Ways to Die, is getting thrown off the cliff. That's the whole purpose of it, right? Sometimes you get thrown off the cliff, sometimes you throw your buddies off the cliff.
Yeah, Fall Flat. Oh yeah. Oh, Captain Pixis was talking about the Getting Over It game. It's called Clam. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yes. It looks so funny, dude. A punishing VR climbing game. Oh, I might buy it. I might buy it right now.
Is it on already? Did it come out recently?
Yes.
Okay.
Question mark. Clam. There's a free demo. Ayo. Download.
It's called The Clam.
The Clam.
I think I saw like a dev video about this game.
Is it free? Is it like? Oh, it's a planned release. So there's a demo right now that you can do, but they're coming out with more of it later.
Okay.
It's just such a perfect movement mechanic for VR. Like I just love that someone took a stab at this so much.
Let me pull that one up.
Ooh. Yeah,
so this is somebody else playing it right now.
Yep.
I mean, it looks hilarious.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as like that old game, you know. Like I just loved that game so much, and like it was just so funny. So I'd just be so curious to see how it translates over. And he's like in a toilet or something. I'm pretty sure. It's just funny, dude. I don't know. We were talking about rage games, and I feel like the universe was like, "Behold, VR rage games." So love that. of that. Dr. Minty is asking if Human Fall Flat VR is free. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I think it's
like
$9.99,
$13. Oh, is it?
something like that.
Enchanted said, I haven't played it, but from what I've seen with other games in third person with VR, it makes people motion sick really bad. And when they do have a good third person game, it is usually a story game. That's the same reason why Roblox VR failed. I didn't realize Roblox VR was in third person. That's interesting.
I have not tried it yet, so I can tell you. I know there are Roblox VR games you can try that will throw you into third person or first person.
Yeah.
So wow, this I just have you ever checked out Roblox?
Roblox? Yeah. Roblox is so interesting to me.
It's so fascinating. It's kind of interesting that there's a lot of these platforms that are coming out that I feel like people are creating really interesting games on, like really well designed games, because it's like, oh, I have to make this work within Roblox.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know. I'd be curious because like Lethal Company, the guy who made Lethal Company, he started out on Roblox. He was a Roblox dev first. And he switched over to Unity and figured it out. And I'm just I bet you there will be a lot of people like that who are like, hey, I want to make a Roblox game. Wait, I don't actually want to do this, inside of Roblox. So let's switch over to an actual game engine. So I can see that being a platform for a lot of people to actually create
VR games.
Well, just games in general, dude. Like Lethal Company is a perfect example. This guy just got his start checking out Roblox games. Like I actually recently jumped into Roblox and checked out a bunch of their pirate games. Like I just searched pirate on Roblox and tried out a bunch of their games. And I played one that I was like, okay, I'm putting something like this in sale because it was such a cool idea, such a fast-paced, fun thing that we should do. And I was like, dang, someone came up with that. And now like I'm going to kind of steal the basis of the idea and improve on it in a VR setting that I have in my pirate game. And it'll just be that much better. But yeah, anyway.
I love taking mechanics from other games that exist already.
That's like how game development works.
I think especially in the stuff that I work on, like it's all very new technology. So creating pre-established like game mechanics is a little bit easier than working with new technology and with a new game mechanic. Like that's really difficult. But this is the game that I am trying to recreate right now. Let me pull it up. And I think, I'm trying to make another version of Jump King. And like, it's just fun to see how people do this type of stuff. Think about how like you could make it work in the environment that you're doing it. Like I'm doing it a little bit different, right? I'm doing it in 3D. So all of my assets are going to be in 3D. Instead of like with Jump King, the way you face is the way that you jump. So you kind of hold the space bar and that's the power meter essentially. So the longer you hold the jump button, the further you end up jumping when you let go. And then it's just depending on whichever way you're facing. That's kind of how you control Jump King, the game. What I'm doing is, since it's going to be you're trying to get to the hot babe at the top of Jump King. But
excellent.
Mine is it's going to have the arrow going back and forth that controls the angle of your jump. And then when you set the angle, it's going to have the power meter going up and down. So it's not going to be using like left and right controls at all. Where you land is where you land, but then there's going to be angle control, and it's going to be a one button game. So I'm trying to like condense the mechanics of Jump King into something that doesn't need as many inputs, and then like create the fun, because it's a very simple map. You have literally the walls on the sides of the map that you can see, and then you have the obstacles that you can jump on. So
are you creating this in 2D? Are you creating this for an AR app, or what? How are you doing this?
It's going to be in the Niantic engine. I'm doing actually a game challenge, so it's kind of like a game jam. I have to use Gaussian splats, which we talked about a little bit last time. They're 3D models that are scanned from the world around you. So I'm just going to scan a bunch of obstacles and then make them the obstacles in the game and then just add hitboxes to them to make them be the registering things that you're landing on. So it's going to be like a bunch of like water bottles and cans and different stuff floating around in an empty space in front of you, and it's just going to be a computer game that you can play on your mobile as well. That's the goal.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's just fun to like take mechanics. I love playing other games and trying to find inspiration from what other developers are doing, but then like trying to twist it a little bit to make it my own.
No, that is the basis of game development. Like, which is why that one, the Nintendo suing Power World is kind of a scary lawsuit, because that could ruin that. You know, like you can trace every single game back to a predecessor who did something first. You know, but like that's all like new games are, is like mixing genres and stuff. You know, mixing genres, mixing game mechanics. I mean, like Sail VR, you could trace a lot of the stuff that's in Sail VR to other VR games that I played and liked. You know, like right now, the most popular option for inventory is to have it on your wrist, and that came straight out of Veil VR. I played Veil, and I loved inventory on your wrist. It made a lot of sense. It was very visible. It was easy to grab as a VR player. It was just really nice, and so like we added it into the game. You know, like. And just like stuff like that is how you make better games, is you see what works in other like scenarios and stuff, and then you improve on that, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway.
I'm super interested talking about Sail. I want to hear about how Bone Maw went. I know in our last podcast, you were expecting to get Bone Maw launched by like noon the next day. And then I saw your video saying that they were able to defeat him pretty quickly, but I'd love to hear about that experience, like what you learned from it.
So Bone Maw, first and foremost, a lot of people have been asking me, like a lot of people were disappointed that like he wasn't like a Kraken or something. So first and foremost, to everyone who was disappointed that he wasn't a Kraken, Bone Maw has laid the foundation for us to have that caliber of sea monsters in the future. A lot of the code and a lot of the stuff that went into Bone Maw will be a lot of the base like foundation of future boss fights in the future, right? So just see Bone Maw as like our level 1, our first iteration of what sea monsters will eventually be like in Sail VR. So just calm down, guys. There will be a Kraken, there will be a Megalodon someday. It's just fine. It's just fine. It's fine, okay? Anyway, the event itself went off really well. So we summoned him on Halloween at about like 4 p.m., I want to say, Mountain Standard Time. So it was about 3 p.m. Pacific time. And like he had 66 million health points, which again, the way that we did this is we set it up so that the community had to collect 6,666,666 skulls. And once that was collected, it would spawn phase 2, which was a boss fight. There was a giant skeleton that was walking through the map. And if you got too close to him, he would come up to your ship and start wailing away at you. And he did tons of damage. He sunk tons of people's ships. It was a lot of fun. And then the community as a whole had to deal 66 million health damage or damage points to him in order to conquer him. And once he was conquered, everyone unlocked what's called the Sails of the Damned, which if you haven't claimed those yet, guys, go into Sail VR, go to the Halloween event area, and there should be a little button for you to claim those sails. So a lot of stuff about this event was actually stuff we had learned from our previous event that we did. So back in July, we did what was called the Faction War. And in the Faction War, we pitted the entire community against each other, right? We had the Sea Monkeys and the Sea Dogs. And we basically said, all right, whoever collects the most gold in this month wins, right? And it was this big thing. It was a month-long competition. It was super close. And anyway, Sea Monkeys ended up winning it. And we learned a lot from that one. One of the things that we learned from that first community event is that people wanted individual rewards, because what we did with the faction war is we basically said, oh, the winning faction will get this reward, which was the monkey on the shoulder, which we actually ended up screwing up and had to give to everyone anyway, because we kind of messed that up. That's on us. But we learned. But one of the big feedbacks we got from the last community event was that people wanted individual rewards for like their individual contribution to the community event. So in this one, the whole phase 1 was individual reward based, right? there was like, I think there were 7 different pumpkin heads you could unlock based off of how
Okay.
many skulls you contributed to the event. And I think people were super pleased with that. It was a free cosmetic that you got, and it was like, it wasn't very grindy. I felt like it was a lot of fun for people to like to jump in, and there were like obviously like holiday themed cosmetics and whatnot. It was a really good time. So we had that going for us, and I think it was really good. After that, the second phase of it was kind of us experimenting with like a community together, because obviously the first time we did a community event, we pitted the 2 sides against each other. But
Yeah.
this time we were like, let's try pitting the community against a foe. And holy crap, like I was expecting it to be vanquished within like 3 or 4 days. Like I'm pretty sure he was down in 24 hours.
Oh,
Like
wow.
everyone jumped in and they like let him have it, which is crazy because the most damage you could do to him was 100 points with a cannonball. And I literally think that some people just sat there for like that. Like Enchanted is saying, he did it for 8 hours straight and just sat there and peppered the guy. So my guy went down super fast, and lo and behold, the Sail community amazes me yet again for the capabilities they have. So yeah, that was a really cool event. I feel like it went off really well. I have my lead dev, Cameron Churchill, to thank for that. He did a great job. He was kind of the brainchild behind this whole thing. Tons of fun. We learned a lot from it. More like it was kind of interesting because people were very interested in like the live event aspect of this event.
Yeah.
So like the last one was very
That's really
much like a
cool.
month-long competition, and there wasn't necessarily like a finale to it, but this one definitely had these like key moments that you had to be there for, right? And a lot of people said like, "Oh man, I wish that was like crazier. I wish that was like more insane." Like the Fortnite live events. I don't know if you've ever attended one of those. Like, those
Yeah,
are pretty crazy, but like people are kind of like saying like, "Oh, would love to see more stuff like this." But like at that scale where like you can sit there and witness the thing happen,
Yeah.
So
So let me ask you, did you have like one instance of Bone Maw? And
So-
then
once he appeared in every server, every instance of Sail across the board. So like
Okay.
he was wandering around in every version of the game, and the sky was different, and you could see him from quite a ways away. So like, yeah, he was very obviously everywhere. Like it changed the entirety of the map because he
Okay.
was there. So
and then everybody that played accumulatively dealt damage to him, right?
correct.
It was one instance of Bone Maw across all the servers.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Bone Maw. So he was like unique to the server. So like he was an NPC inside of the individual instances,
Mm.
but the damage dealt to him was universal. So like we counted across all instances the amount of damage he was taking, and that's what we were tracking
Gotcha.
that on our back end. And so like 66 million damage cumulatively is what the community dealt to him to vanquish
Gotcha.
him. So
So let me ask, what was your inspiration for something like this then? Because I can think of a couple of games that have like mechanics like that, but I'd like to hear like what inspired you for this one specifically.
So we've been brainstorming a lot of community events like this, because obviously like Sail VR is a free to play game, and
Yeah.
it is a live service game as well, which means like we need to keep doing stuff to mix things up, to make things different. And so we've been designing things like this for a long time that we want to like be able to put in every once in a while to spice things up in the game, And so this idea, I've never personally played a game where they implemented exactly this. Like Helldivers had a lot to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Helldivers, you can see like the cumulative efforts going into everything.
Yeah.
So that was kind of part of it. But I think my lead dev was saying that they've done something like this in I want to say Destiny 2. There was like basically things like this where it's like there's one enemy, various instances of him, but they do community-wide damage to him. And so we're like, let's try it. We have this tech stack to support it. Let's give it a try. And so we threw it in. And then I had watched Attack on Titan earlier this year. And so like the idea of a giant lumbering skeleton was definitely like sitting in the back of my head. So that was a big one.
I think to me, like the thing I think of is Pokemon Go. Like Pokemon Go, they have those huge events where you can have everybody in the community at a way stop fighting against one giant Pokemon, and they've done it in like the newer Pokemon Sword and Shield games and games for the Switch with Pokemon that are like open world. They have these giant events where everybody's fighting one mythical Pokemon together, type of a thing. So
Yeah, no, and again, like so, like the last time we did a community-wide event, we pitted the community against each other, which while I thought it was a lot of fun, but at the same time, it was also like a little bit toxic because it's a competition. That's what happens,
Yeah.
you know. And so I wanted to see like what the community would do with like a unifying objective, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the other thing. It's kind of like, let's do the inverse of what we did last time. Instead of pitting against each other, let's pit them against a common foe and see how that goes. I feel like it did really well. I think there's room for both in the future. We definitely want to do another round of like a community-wide competition against each other where you choose a side. And we definitely want to do another like maybe boss fight, something of the sort. So there'll be more stuff like this in the future. So yeah,
that's awesome. I think Enchanted said hear me out, do both. I think yeah, there are a lot of cool things like the voting thing where you're voting for a team. That reminds me a lot of Splatoon 2. I don't know if you ever played Splatoon. It'd be fun to have like an event where you kind of have both sides have like a home base, and then it's like a capture the flag type thing where you have to have defenders and attackers on both sides, and you're trying to like do something against the other group to win. And instead of like just accumulating points, there's like a direct PvP correlation with the team-based stuff. But I mean, that's obviously there's a lot of different stuff. So that's really cool. That sounds like a really fun event. I'm excited to see like what kind of stuff you guys work on in the future with some of the multiplayer events. I'm sure you have a lot of fun stuff brewing in the pipes and like in your brains.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming. A lot of people have been asking like what's next for Sail VR. We're doing a lot of like quality of life stuff, which I know isn't the most interesting, and a lot of people aren't like excited about it, but it needs to happen. You know, like we have so there's two main developers that sell right now. We have a guy named Cameron. He's known as Churchill on Discord, and then we have Ben. Ben is awesome because he's a project guy, and we can just hand him like a whole system in Sail VR. He was the guy who originally did the faction war in Sail VR. We told him like, dude, make a faction war, and he did it. Like that's the caliber of dev that this guy is.
Cool.
But we have recently handed him treasure hunting. Treasure hunting has been very basic in Sail VR for the longest time, right? We have not put too much thought and time into it, but we told Ben, we were like, all right, Ben, go crazy, dude. And we are just ready to push it out to our Patreon supporters, and it is so much fun. He did tons of like little puzzles, little riddles. Like he did a great job with it, and I think the community is going to love it. So we're doing a lot of stuff like that. The next few updates for Sail VR are going to be like stuff like that, where we're going to improve systems that need to be improved on before we start making some big changes, like big gameplay stuff. So yeah, anyway, there's your sales spoilers. There's the sales section of this podcast that we seem to do every week.
Do you think Ben would be a good person to have come on the podcast and talk a little bit about his experience like developing on Sail?
Yeah, Ben would be a really interesting one to have come talk sometime, because like his major and the things that he like was doing in college and then ended up with us is just really not what you would have expected. I'd love to have Churchill come in here and talk on it as well, because he was like an indie dev himself.
Cool.
And then came over to Red Team. We have a lot of cool people at Red Team Interactive that would definitely be fun to talk to. So we'll line that up. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have a lot of fun vision for like this podcast. Obviously, we're working on a lot of new like, I guess, integrated chat and trying to get different streams and stuff added into the podcast. I want to start doing interviews every once in a while. So, I mean, I would love to have people like them on here to talk about their experience developing it. I know like the guy over at Yeeps. I think that would be a ton of fun to have them on to do an interview and just talk to some of these other studios that make the games that a lot of, our listeners really enjoy playing. So I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, another guy that I know would probably be super down to come talk to us is the guy behind Derby VR, the baseball
Okay.
game. His name's
Okay.
Jordan. He's super fun
Yeah.
to talk to. He has a really cool story. He was a college baseball player for I want to say Harvard.
Okay.
Really good pitcher, and his wife is an Olympic athlete. So
Oh, wow.
kind of cool. He's
Nope.
got a cool story. He's a 2-man team that builds this awesome game, and smart guy, really fun to talk to. We've done a couple
Yeah.
of live streams on TikTok together.
Cool.
Cool guy. He's a cool guy. Well, we'll have to get it. We'll have to get some guys in. Enchanted says he knows a guy. Of course you do. Of course you do. Enchanted is one of our mods on the Sail VR server, and he's also mod in a lot of my Twitch chats and YouTube streams and stuff. So Enchanted, you to go, man.
Well, I
Anyway.
think we've spent a lot of time like trying to build up some of the platform like socials now as well. I don't know if a lot of people follow us on like TikTok or on YouTube now, but we do have a TikTok account for the podcast. I've kind of spent the last week overloading content on there. We had 7 episodes of podcasts that I wanted to get good content on TikTok for. So I think we've probably posted like 21 shorts in the last week onto TikTok
Yep.
and onto the YouTube just to have like
YouTubes.
backup content for people to start looking at shorts and stuff. But I'm going to start posting less regularly and then just highlights from our podcasts. And we'd love it if you guys could jump on TikTok and YouTube and sign up to support the podcast a little bit on there. So
Yes, sir. Got 11 subscribers on YouTube for the Practical
Yeah.
Reality Podcast. The
I
description
think
link
we're
in
up
the
to like
description,
70
guys.
on TikTok.
We're getting there. We're getting there. But yeah, we post like short clips of some of the highlights of this, guys. So if you don't catch us live, you can get some of the highlights that we talk about there. And I feel like the quality is only going to improve now that we have this restream going. It's really nice. So it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
We'll just keep getting better. Anyway, let's see if I can send the link to it in Twitch chat.
Cool.
Anyway.
Well, chat, we want to kind of answer some of the questions that you guys have too. I know there have been some pretty active people and we've been deep in our conversation today, but I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I am super tired today. I stayed up way too late watching the election last night, and I'm not going to say anything about it. I just was up late watching it. And then
no politics. We make games, not politics.
Yeah, we don't do any of that crap. But and then today I had a technical interview at a job and completely just crapped the bed. It was embarrassing how bad it was. So
oh no.
It happens, man. We'll see what they say. I'm not super confident about it, but there's just something about like sitting there with somebody that's watching your screen, watching you program, that's like, can you do this? And it's like, yeah, I can. I would normally like Google some stuff or like plug it into ChatGPT or like, you know, not just do it by myself. I'd use some tools to get stuff figured out, especially like data. It's a data company that I was interviewing at. So they're like talking about different data structures and stuff. And it's like, well, I don't really do that kind of crap. That's not really my go-to thing. But yeah.
Yeah. Nah, that's all right. It's probably not the place you want to work with anyway, if that's what they're into. Like my brother-in-law is a data guy. He works for a pretty big company and he's like way high up. He's like basically a VP of engineering there. And when we start talking, like there's a very clear path where it's like, obviously you are data and obviously I am games. Like,
yeah.
You know,
well, it would have been an XR job at that company. So like it was a weird position. I don't know, XR creator at a data company. But
yo, speaking of data and XR, I saw a really interesting VR app, AR app. Actually, it's an augmented reality app. It is, if I'm not wrong, it's called C Signal.
Okay.
And it is a augmented reality visualization of the strength of your Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can wander, you map out your whole house and it creates these little nodes. Let's see if I can find a thing for it. C Signal. Yep, called C Signal. Let me see. Is there a way for me to share this? Let me see.
That's pretty cool.
No, that's not it. Okay, here. Let me Let me share this if possible. Can you throw that up on screen?
Oh yeah. There we
So
go.
super interesting concept that you basically can walk around in VR, and this is kind of what you see as you're walking around. Is you
What the
basically see
heck?
these little nodes that tell you how strong your Wi-Fi signal is.
How does
Right.
that work?
I have no idea, but I saw this pop up on my TikTok feed, and I was like, this is a fascinating real world use case of like the power of like
reality.
augmented reality and stuff. And it was kind of interesting. The guy that I saw using it was giving like some tips and stuff for like
Yeah.
what it was showing. And like he was showing that like, yeah, no, if you see like obviously like the colors denote like how strong the signal is. And he was kind of showing off like, hey, like you can tell it's red right here, and like look where it is. It's by all this metal stuff. Obviously, it's harder for like the signal to reach here and stuff. But anyway, just like a fascinating use case for figuring out like Wi-Fi strength in VR. So
It makes me wonder, like, how accurate is it? Like, are they
I don't know.
Is it BS?
I don't know. I doubt it. Like the guy that seems to be making it seems at least like semi. I mean, he probably passed his networking exam, unlike you and I.
Yeah. hey, COVID happened, right? Everybody passed.
Everybody passed. Everybody passed. Everybody passes.
I think it's so interesting because, like, I get you can understand where the Wi-Fi signal is at your current location, but how do you really know what it's like 5 feet ahead of you? Like, that's the interesting part to me.
So my guess and like what the guy was explaining is as you walk around the room, it's
Oh, it
doing a
maps it.
ping.
Okay.
So like you walk around the room, you kind of map it out, and then it creates these nodes and stuff based off of those pings it's created. So like I don't know. I thought it was fascinating. Like Wi-Fi, I have so many issues with Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi router sucks, and I
Yeah.
bought like a really nice one. It's a mesh router. It's supposed to be super nice, and it's supposed to cover like the entirety of my home. And yet I just have so many issues with internet. And I saw this, and I was like, I kind of want to walk around my house with this and see like what's going on. Maybe I could figure out why my Wi-Fi sucks in certain spots of my house.
Yeah.
You know, I'm freaking fascinating. So,
Yeah, definitely. I think yeah, there are a lot of one of my favorite actual augmented reality or mixed reality things I saw. One of our friends in the podcast, his name's Dilmer. He does dev videos for building like VR games. One of the projects that he did for, I believe it was for Meta, was a mixed reality application that allowed you to. So one of the uses was you could get a picture frame, you could put your controller in all of the corners of the picture frame, and then pick up the actual augmented reality frame and then put it on a wall to see like where spacing is for a frame on a wall, and then it'd have the center points. You could go mark where all of the points are on the frame where you need to drill a hole or hammer in a nail. You put it up on the wall, and then you have a clear augmented reality frame of what it's going to look like positionally, and then where you need to hammer in the holes for it to be balanced. And it had like a augmented reality level, and like there is a very cool utility tool that used mixed reality to, you know, make your life a little bit easier if you're doing things like hanging picture frames. Like it was obviously kind of a niche product, but it was
for sure
kind of the beginning of an augmented or mixed reality tool belt, which was really, really cool. It had like a tape measure as well. And but I don't know. I think there's a lot of fun real world utility things with mixed reality that people are still trying to figure out how to do. I think with the 3S, obviously that's going to be more affordable, and
absolutely
it'll be fun to see like what kind of utility stuff people are making as well.
One of the things, and chat, if you know of a game or whatever that does this, please go to my Discord and put it in game suggestions in that section, because I have been looking for something that does this for a long time. What I want, this is a mixed reality app that I want. I want to be able to map out my house, okay? I want to be able to map out my house and then put furniture in certain places and move it around to like basically interior design my house without having to interior design my house. Does that make sense?
That's cool. I've seen actually a prototype for something. I actually worked on a prototype for something like that.
How did you really?
When we were in college, my let's see, would it have been 2020 in like August of 2020? I worked on a prototype for a project like that. I don't know whatever happened to it. I did it all in augmented reality using a mobile phone. So you'd place anchors and then it would create a blueprint of your house. You just place anchors in the corners and you could like map out where doors and stuff were.
Hmm.
And then what that did was then pass that information of the blueprint to a different piece of software that you had on your computer, and then you'd be able to do interior design inside of your computer. And
See,
then
I
it
see.
would
Like,
show.
I want a contained into virtual reality like experience because like so my office is a continued battle. Like what you guys see behind
Yeah.
me. I know a few of you guys have asked me for a setup tour. I don't dare do a setup tour right now because my office, like beyond these frames, guys, it's a disaster. You don't want to
it's-
see it.
He's Asmongold outside of the frames, if you know who that is. The guy who
No.
just lives in filth.
Okay,
He has
it's not
like
that
McDonald
bad.
bags and
It's
cockroaches.
not that
and-
bad. It's not that bad. But like here, I'll move my camera over a little bit so you can like see one of the sides. So like if we go over here a little bit, like that's my closet, just stuff hanging up against the wall and stuff. It looks real pretty right here because that's what needs to look pretty, right? Because I do lots of videos and calls and stuff, you know, but like I've got blankets over here and whatnot. Like outside of frame, guys, it's not looking too good. I'm very proud of like my wall of this crap. That's all my headsets and stuff. Pretty proud of that. But still, you can see like I've got my cowboy hat like hanging on this thing. I've got books. I've got a random mug. That's my Xbox headset. You know, like it's not
Xbox?
like
didn't
Xbox game headset. Game
Oh,
headset.
okay.
No, not leaking the Xbox VR headset for the
Yeah.
first time. I know nothing. I know nothing, Microsoft. I don't know anything. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's just the gaming headset. But anyway, I would love to be able to take out the dimensions of my room because I also have kind of a weird room that's my office.
Yeah.
There's this weird closet as you guys saw, and there's also like there's a window and there's a door, and there's not a lot of space. And so it'd be nice instead of having to move all my furniture around to get an idea of what I want like my office and my background to look like, to be able to mess around with like what if I put a potted plant in here or like a bookshelf or like, you know, and get a sense of like what that all looks like without
feng
having
shui.
to. Yeah. So if anyone's got a idea of something that does that, please let me know. I would love to explore an app that does that.
Chat, what kind of mixed reality or augmented or virtual reality apps would you like made? Maybe not necessarily just games. I know we all have opinions on video games that we'd like made, but do you have any like non-video game type things that you think would be a really cool utility? Transformers.
Yep, that's it. Did you see the thing on LinkedIn where the guy hooked up IoT to augmented reality?
That's pretty cool.
So
You could get like your notifications from like your Alexa or something. Or
so
like your thermostat.
what I saw this guy do, and I don't know if he's improved upon it. I saw it on LinkedIn months ago, but he showed within I believe it was the Apple Vision Pro. He showed he was able to look up at the like oh no, gosh dang it, I hate that zoom. Anytime I put my hands up, dude. So he looked up at a smart light bulb, right? It was a smart light bulb connected via IoT stuff, Internet of Things for anyone who doesn't know. And he looked at it and was able to just do that little like pinch thing, you know?
That's cool.
And turn the light on and off in augmented reality.
So there's like object recognition.
Exactly. He basically, I mean, he said like obviously this is a very rough prototype. I basically put that there by hand, but it's connected to IoT, so I'm able to turn on and off like a real world thing inside of my Apple Vision Pro. It was like kind of fascinating, like kind of cool. Like
object recognition is so cool once you can get that working well. One of the companies that I work a lot with is called Zapper. I've talked about it on here before. They this week had a new. Let's see. It was a it was a 3D scanning application. So kind of like Niantic stuff. So Niantic, a lot of what they do is called VPS. You go to a physical location, you scan it, and then it embeds the 3D model into a GPS location so that if other people go to that area and you build an augmented reality experience on that physical location area, other people can experience it too. So it's kind of like location-based augmented reality. That's something that's super popular with augmented reality right now. Zapper just released a product that's kind of like that as well, but you can take those 3D models and instead of having them necessarily tied to a 3D model in a physical space, you can just have them attached to like an object. So I'm trying to experiment with object recognition in augmented reality in the web right now. That's one of the things that I'm really interested in. And like, it'd be cool to be able to create an augmented reality experience that tracks to like a tennis ball that anybody has at their house, like I think that would be a lot of fun. I think that would be a really cool product or experience that people could do. Like imagine just scanning a Coke can and having an augmented reality experience that runs on any Coke can. Or like for future things like object recognition and like an IoT thing would be pretty cool. I just think object recognition is something that's not utilized a ton yet in a lot of XR applications because it's pretty intensive, but people are finding ways to make it more usable in augmented reality right now. You're muted.
Whoops. I've seen, so my understanding is there's like some tricky parts about object recognition with like,
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple different solutions. There's obviously like the machine learning, or as Apple likes to call it, what do they call it? Spatial computing.
Yeah, spatial computing.
Where it's like basically the computer looks at an object and it's able to recognize this is a chair. This is basically what our brain does. Like we look at a desk and can say, yeah, that's a desk, right? And then there's the another version that I saw is basically I saw someone who was creating these like basically QR codes, but they were only visible to IR light.
Okay.
And so essentially, as you would be like in your house or whatever, there would be these QR codes that are basically made with infrared light that would basically tell the device like, oh, this is this, and it is in this position, right? It kind of kills two birds with one stone. I don't know. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on like what you think is the better way to go about it. Because I know we've talked a little bit about how like Niantic, like you were just saying, they do like GPS 3D models, and then there's it. Is it Niantic that's doing the whole world? Like they're trying to map the entirety of the world.
Yeah.
Versus like Apple's spatial computing just figured out in the needed area since it's such a moving area.
Like to me, spatial computing is the way that it's used now is more in real time. So it's mapping out things in real time and creating like a physical mesh of the area where you are. Which people have been doing that forever in like the HoloLens.
Right.
That's something that has been done for a while. I think with the spatial computing, my understanding of it is or not the spatial computing, sorry, the Niantic stuff is like it's like Pokemon more, where you can go to a physical location like a way stop in Pokemon Go and you could get a reward for being there. But once you get there, it downloads a mesh that somebody else made and then AR content that's kind of based around that 3D space. So one is in real time, it's mapping out the world around you. The other one is it's using GPS to then find a virtual position that somebody already created. We're not remapping it. We're just downloading the 3D position that somebody's already made and then putting it on the physical space in front of you. That's like the big difference. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
The one's in a cloud that you're pulling down the information from, and the other one is being done in real time by sending out different like signals, like infrared, not infrared, but LiDAR signals to map out a physical space. That's what a lot of them are using is LiDAR. So
LiDAR works really well because that's it's a depth. It also measure depth?
Yep, exactly.
I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's like light intensity depth radar or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, and that's how like Apple Vision Pro has depth videos. It's like if you record a video with a LiDAR enabled phone, you can then put it in your Apple Vision Pro and you can watch a video that somebody recorded with all the same depth information. So it looks like it's 3D in an Apple Vision Pro.
Okay, so this brings up another question that would be interesting to talk about. Do you think VR and AR will change social media? Like, so the Apple Vision Pro has these, what do they call them? Spatial videos and whatnot,
Yeah.
right? Do you think that platforms like Instagram and YouTube will like adapt these things into them, or do you think that there were like is there an evolution of social media beyond this 2D version we have right now that could exist in the future?
Yeah, I think there has to be. I mean, I personally I read Ready Player 2. I don't know if a lot of people realize that's a thing. But they wrote another book, not as good as the first one. Would not recommend it. There you go.
I got it. I read it. Ready Player
Yeah.
Two. This
The
was
interesting, yeah, for sure. The interesting thing that they had in Ready Player 2 was that idea of a social media where you share your experiences that you have and other people can live vicariously through what you're doing. Like one of the examples they had was somebody was able to go surfing.
Yep.
You're able to experience surfing, even though you're in a crappy physical location. You could experience surfing from somebody else's perspective.
Or
I think,
like eating certain types of food.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which-
This is like the interesting one.
Obviously, we won't get that exact thing because they were Neuralinked in.
Yeah, that was like full dive VR. That's something I don't know if we'll ever allow people to do.
I hope not. But I think the idea of a social media platform where you're able to share virtual reality experiences that are recorded using software like that is something that could be real in the future. Maybe Facebook or Instagram develops it, but I think like that idea for social media content where you're experiencing something from somebody else's exact perspective instead of just from a camera in front of them is like a possibility in the future.
So let me show this to you. So there's a company that's been in they have been in the VR space for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Live.
Oh, cool.
Have you heard of Live?
Yeah.
So these guys have been in the VR space for a really long time, and they recently reached out to
That's
me
cool.
about this project. Okay, so what this is they call it a spatial video, not the same as what Apple is doing, but essentially what they were trying to accomplish is basically something that could only exist in virtual or augmented reality.
Yeah.
These are 3D captures
Pretty dope.
of in-game stuff.
I can't even imagine how they did that. That's crazy.
They have a really, really cool team that's doing lots of stuff. Live continues to do lots of cool stuff for the creation side of things. And that's kind of the other cool thing about them is like they are a creation, both like product and agency.
Yeah.
And they are now partnered with Meta on creating a in-game recording tools for like Quest games. So like at Sail VR right now, we have Quest Cam. Live has their own that they're actually implementing into Gorilla Tag that will allow people to record third-person videos inside of Gorilla Tag and be able to post them and whatnot. But like this was so fascinating to me when I saw this because this type of social media would only exist in virtual and augmented reality, right?
Yeah. That's
This is not something you could view on like Instagram or TikTok or anything like that. This is something you would have to view inside of a headset. And they have been playing around with it a lot and like trying to figure out like what a social media like this would look like. And I don't know, like, do you see that as something possible? Like,
I think that'd be dope. It reminds me, there's that one game that we had at the lab where you would teleport around to different areas, then you'd find an orb and put it on your face, and it would kind of take you into that scene, right?
right.
To me, this is like a combination of that and what's that
VR
movie?
chat?
No, well, yeah, VR chat, but the Disney movie where they have all the feelings and emotions.
Oh, Inside Out.
Yeah, Inside Out. You know how they have the memory spheres in Inside Out where you can look inside of it and see the memories? Imagine like this, you have your little memory area in your little house and you invite people to come over to your place and they can see like all your favorite memories on your shelves.
Oh, interesting.
Like that'd be pretty dope. Could you imagine something like that? Like everybody has their own environment, they have their own memories, and then instead of telling somebody a story, you could invite them to see it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Like,
cool?
That would be interesting. Like it's interesting because when the Vision Pro was first getting announced and they talked about spatial video, I remember telling my wife about it. I was like, that's kind of cool, like the spatial video side of things. And she was actually saying like that is super compelling because like, my wife and I have really young kids right now.
Yeah.
And those like they grow up so fast,
For sure.
like and capturing those like moments of their life to my wife at least. And I have to agree with her. That was like a fascinating idea that I could capture in like a 3D-esque like video, the size and like everything about my child to be able to remember that more like deeply. That's fascinating. That's like something that I think would like go a really long way for like memory keeping in the future, you know? And so I do think, again, like my hat's off to Apple for coming up with something that's actually applicable to like the general audience, because like that's just like revolutionary. I'm sorry, but like spatial videos they're freaking sweet. You can actually view spatial videos on the MetaQuest. Yeah. And I've viewed several and they're cool. Like they're a little janky, but like they're cool.
Yeah, I think YouTube don't they have like 360 and volumetric videos that are specifically made for devices already? Like there's a curated catalog of videos like that are published by YouTube that you can access inside of a VR device.
Yeah, they're janky though.
Okay.
It was a really big push a little while ago. So like if you type in 360 video right now, there's like roller coasters, tsunami, lots of roller coasters. The bloop eats you. Space.
Yeah.
Really slutty that thing. Some naughty ones on there. Jeez. Anyway, but I remember I jumped into one of them just like to check it out, and I don't remember it being like very good 3D experience, because the way they capture those is it's very much like they put a camera that has two cameras, and they basically create the 3D image by overlaying two to give you like the same sense of depth that you get from your two eyes. And the problem with it is as soon as you move like in any direction, it kind of breaks the magic of it.
Yeah.
Whereas the spatial video, because it's captured with a little bit of that LiDAR data, you're able to like kind of move around it a little bit, and it stays without breaking the experience, if that makes sense. Whereas these 360 videos, as soon as you like turn your head too much or whatever, it's just broken. Like it's not the same.
Well, I think I'll add one more thing. Apple did volumetric TV series. I'm pretty sure they developed some specific stuff on the Apple catalog that are like volumetric for the Apple Vision Pro. So I haven't had a chance to watch any of those, but I imagine those would be pretty dope to have like high production value with the volumetric video.
I know a lot of people, when they first jump into the Apple Vision Pro, they did a dinosaur experience where like it puts like a window in front of you and then like a dinosaur walks into your room. Like what an epic first experience in mixed reality for anyone to have to just see like a dinosaur. And like, again, like the audio on the Apple Vision Pro is insane. So like you can hear the dinosaur breathe into you and stuff. Like that's insane. Like that's such a good experience. Which, okay, chat, this is a good question. If you were to show a first-time VR user something in VR, what would you show them? What would be the first thing you guys hand over to a brand new the VR version, I guess you could say?
That's a good question, because I'm actually working on something like this for a client right now. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to offer. Like, what would you want somebody to experience for the first time when they put on a VR headset?
I know we talked a little bit. I was talking the other day about Batman.
Yeah.
And I actually took Batman over to my in-laws' house and had my brother-in-law try it out. And like he was obsessed. Like instantly jumped, just like played it for hours and hours until the headset died.
Yeah.
Could not get enough of it. But but again, like that's kind of a more intense thing. Like I don't know if I would give that to a first timer. He had done VR before, so I felt like pretty confident in it. But he was just like, "This is the cool thing." The Plank Experience game. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I love the Plank Experience. I feel like Plank is one that I've used regularly. Beat Saber, I still feel like is just an easy first time user experience.
I feel like
I
the
really-
Plank is better though because
Yeah.
it's such a better one to show you like how real things feel in VR. Whereas like Beat Saber gives a great example of like, yeah, this is a game in VR and it's cool. But like the Plank experience gives you that like, holy crap, I'm 10 stories up or whatever it is,
Mhm.
and I'm looking out. Like you cannot get that anywhere else. So that's a great one. Plank experience is a good first one.
I don't know how many of you have a 3 or a 3S, but I know when the 3 came out, they had that mixed reality experience on there.
That's a good one.
where like the walls break in and you have those little aliens that you have to collect. To me, that was like the coolest mixed reality device onboarding and like first experience. Like I played it multiple times. I thought it was a ton of fun for a free thing that just came automatically on your device, like preloaded. I thought that was a lot of fun to jump in and play.
Have you tried Drop Dead the Cabin, the mixed reality experience? That is another one like that. It is zombies though. So
Okay.
you map out your room and then it decides where to put like barriers and stuff in your room.
Yeah.
And then zombies come and try to get you. And so like you're defending your room from zombies. And it is so cool. It is such a fun experience.
Drop Dead the Cabin. I'm gonna put that in.
Drop Dead the Cabin. I've talked to those devs. That's a great team over there. They're making good stuff. Can recommend that one 100%.
So, to the person that said the plank experience, have you ever actually put a physical plank in to that experience to have somebody walk on a physical plank? Do you know you can like measure out the plank so it is the same exact size and in the same position as the actual plank in the game?
It's so spooky.
Oh man, it makes it so much more fun. It's even more immersive.
There already is a COD-like game, Dog Day. Contractors VR. That's funny. That is so terrifying. Yeah, no, adding like that's a perfect example of like a little extra immersion goes so far with those things. So
I would highly recommend it if you haven't.
If you haven't
You
tried
should try it out.
Gotta try it out. I think I have that in my bio as one of the best VR games or best horror games because it's such a fun horror experience. Let me double check.
The Dog Day one or Drop Dead?
Drop Dead the Cabin,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Double check that. Ooh. But was there any other VR games that came out recently?
I don't know. I was looking. The ones that I was super interested in were Dumb Ways to Die, which I think it looks like a lot of fun. And then The Human Fall Flat just looks super silly to me. And I get like people why people don't like the controls. I think the other thing that could have been a lot of fun was Gorn style movement. I'll share Gorn. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with Gorn because that's an older title.
Ooh, Dog Day just mentioned a really good one that just came out. It's called Clawball. Have you seen Clawball?
I haven't.
Okay, let me show you Clawball really fast. So this is I've seen a lot of people play this who were ex-Echo players.
Okay.
So Echo VR was that awesome VR game, like Ender's Game, but with disc battles. Super fun. So this is Clawball. It's Gorilla Tag movement, but it's soccer.
Okay. Yeah. I can
so you're
that.
these cat. It just released in early access, so you can kind of see right here. Like you use Gorilla Tag movement, but then you're pawing this ball into.
I love the visuals of that. That is so
super
good.
fun. They chose a really unique like style that's also like super like fun. And then they have like a whole social hub where you can just like hang out and do Gorilla Tag stuff.
That's dope. I love the creativity of that.
I really want to check this out. I want to jump into it. It's in early access right now. This looks really fun. I was a pretty big Echo player. I really loved it. I wasn't very good at it, but I enjoyed playing Echo a lot. And so seeing like there's a lot of sports games coming out of the woodworks right now that I'm actually very excited about because I really do think that VR esports are going to be a major part of virtual reality just because of the inherent physicality of VR.
Yeah.
But I personally don't want to try to tackle VR esports as a dev. Like I want to see other people do it. So I'm kind of like trying to find someone to root for. And this is one of the ones that I was like, hey, this is like the right idea. I feel like this is fun.
Yeah,
So,
that looks awesome. I
like
think
a good time.
somebody else in your chat earlier said that there's a mod for the disc game that you were talking about. Somebody made a mod so that you can still
Oh,
play Echo Arena and Echo
yeah. Echo
VR.
VR and Echo Arena. Yeah, I did see that. Some people, so they've got again, this was just like the dumbest thing. I don't know if you know the whole story behind them shutting down Echo, but it kind of blows my mind, if I'm being honest, that they let that happen, that they shut
Yeah.
down a community of such hardcore. Like, I mean, they had professional tournaments and stuff going on,
That's pretty
you know,
crazy.
and they just like turned it off. I was like, Meta, what are you thinking, dude? I
Yeah.
thought for sure they were gonna turn it off and like maybe rebuild it inside of like Horizon Worlds, but
They just got rid of it.
They just shut it down. I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way. Anyway, it's a whole thing. But
Is AC Nexus, is that the Assassin's Creed game?
yes, Assassin's
Okay.
Creed Nexus. That's a great one. They did a great job with that. That's another one like Batman that I feel like is a really fun experience. But again, I argue Batman is better just because Batman, it's Batman. You
Yeah.
know, like again,
For sure.
virtual reality allows you to do stuff that you've never done, you can't do in real life. And being Batman is something you cannot do in real life.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's just super fun.
I wanted to show Gorn real fast because I mentioned it. Gorn movement is hilarious. You're like pulling yourself like you're on rails. So it's like you have parallel rails next to you, and that's how you move. So you just grab and pull towards, grab and pull towards. That's how you move around the map. Like for Human Fall Flat, that could have been an interesting movement mechanic.
That could have been interesting.
Which, again, Devolver Digital right here. I mean, Gorn, this is like I feel like it is one of the quintessential goofy VR games that came out really early on in the scene.
It was one of the very early ones. It was one of the first ones that also released on like Quest 1 as well.
Yeah.
So like they've been around for a while and it's always been pretty popular.
Yeah.
But anyway. Okay, here's a question for the chat. Have any of you guys jumped into Horizon Worlds? Is that something people are actually frequenting? Because Meta is shoving it down our throats so hard. But is anyone actually doing anything in there? Like, are people actually playing it? Because I've talked to a lot of dev studios lately, and a lot of people have been saying that this last month, like, we just didn't have a lot of players. And I was kind of like, oh, it's, you know, the middle of the school year. You know, people are probably focused, you know. But also,
that's for Horizon World specifically.
Yeah, but like right now, if you jump into your headset, the first thing you see is Horizon Worlds. If you try to search anything, it's like, well, here's all the Horizon Worlds, and it's like, but is anyone actually in those worlds? Like, does anyone play Horizon Worlds, or is Meta just really trying super hard? I'm just mostly curious. Are they succeeding? Because if they're succeeding, I'm a little bit nervous because they shouldn't be. Anyway, anyone? I played Horizon Worlds once. I feel like that's most people's experience. It's not like there's something they're doing every day. I feel like everyone's an Animal Company. Have you heard about this game? I think I told you about this game.
Yeah, I think I actually have an interesting like story about Animal Company.
Really?
So when I was at Continuum, I think somebody approached Spencer and Mike about making a game in VR, and they kind of just said make something like Gorilla Tag, and you should be fine. You should be able to make money off of it. And it's the person that made Animal Company.
Really?
That's what I was told recently.
Interesting.
So,
huh.
Yeah, they approached them. Were like, "Hey, I want to make something, and I'm thinking about doing it." And they're like, "Yeah, just make something like Gorilla Tag, and you should be fine." Like a Gorilla Tag clone.
They did a great job because we talked about this in a previous episode. So I won't go back into it too much, but Gorilla Tag movement with a game loop that is lots of fun is a great combination. And that's what Animal Company is. They took the Lethal Company strategy of like go out, collect stuff, bring it back, get scrap for it, go out again.
Yeah.
Like they took that game loop, combined it with Gorilla Tag movement and all these wacky, kind of freaky monsters. It's a blast. It's a good, fun game. We played it as a dev team for a pretty long time, somewhere close to Halloween, and it was fun. Like we had a good time in it. We somehow ended up like I feel like a big part of Gorilla Tag that not enough people take advantage of, but Animal Company did really well is like the exploration mechanics of Gorilla Tag movement. Like because it's a skill to be good at moving and to like get up on top of stuff and whatnot, it like if your game has lots to explore and do, like it makes it instantly more fun. So just thoughts.
Yeah. I'm interested, Beer House, what kind of game are you making?
I am curious, like what like people are making in
Yeah.
VR, because I'm starting to get the itch to start another game, and I'm kind of curious if I should like pitch my current ideas sometime
We
and then try it out.
should
But
do that for one session, one podcast. We should come up with a bunch of different VR game ideas.
no, then I have to give the ones that I don't want to take. That's hard. No.
No, it'd be fun to just like pitch them out to chat and see like what people think about the game ideas.
So there is something to be said though about like the go to market strategy.
Yeah.
Because like obviously I think we talked a little bit about this before as well, but like Sail VR had so much build up hype because we had such a long term community, you know. Whereas Hard Drive, our game Hard Drive is not doing super well right now.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna have to leave it for a little while before we come back to it, just to make sure that
Yeah.
we can keep surviving as a company. So for all you Hard Drive fans out there, sorry guys, but like it's a fun game and we're gonna keep it alive. We're not taking it down or anything, but we're not gonna put as much time into it, you know. But one thing with Hard Drive is we kind of decided like we're gonna make this game, you know, and we didn't really get a lot of community feedback on the idea. And I think that's kind of what backfired on us a little bit, because we had a couple of ideas we were playing around with, and we kind of decided, oh, this sounds the most fun from a dev perspective. And that I don't think that's the move. So with the next game that I want to make, I am going to involve the community like every step of the way. So like I'm going to have them vote on several ideas and tell me like which one they want to see have come to fruition. And I'm going to get them in a Discord, and we're going to get playtesters like from day one. And so like I'm gonna very much involve the community and see like what the difference is between like Hard Drive and whatever this third game is gonna be. So Carl Beverly really wants me to remake the Echo VR, and I say unto you, nay.
I think how would you do it this time around? Have you thought about how you do it? Because last time with Sail, you started making, I remember you put in a ship in VR and you put it on SideQuest, right?
Yep.
That was essentially it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that workflow isn't as realistic anymore. Or do you feel like you would still kind of do the same approach where you have like a basic mechanic, put it in a platform, and then say, play this, let me know what you think?
So what I'm currently thinking, I'm going to either do one of two things. I'm going to build a vertical slice of each of the games that I'm thinking of, and I'm going to put them up for download and just see which one gets the most traction.
On the Meta Store or on like a separate side store?
We'll see. Meta Store would be easiest because then it would be like just instant download. Or if I don't do a vertical slice, because a vertical slice would take me quite a bit of time to do like a demo for each of the games that I'm trying to build. If I don't do that, I would basically do what I did with Sail VR that first time, and I would pitch the different ideas. Mm-hmm. So I would create like a pretty extensive pitch where I would explain this is what the game would be. This is like the mechanics and stuff that would be involved with it, the style, the setting, and whatnot, and pitch like 3 or 4 different game ideas and just let the community vote on it. And then like just from popular vote, like that's the game I would start working on from inside of like the Sail VR and Hard Drive communities. I would let them vote, and then we just start on that.
That's interesting. It would be fun to make a game that's like the Red Team 19 demo room. But if you're going to do vertical slices, why not just put them all in one game and people can like between them type of a thing? Have like internal voting.
That's the other thing that I'm tempted by right now, is to turn Sail into a platform for several different genres.
Okay.
So like we would make it so that it like you could go into the pirate era, or you could go into like a cowboy era. That's an idea, but I just would love to like keep things separate. I don't know. I like the idea of having like, because also the other thing about being an indie studio is we keep learning, right? So it's kind of nice to start fresh projects and be able to be like, okay, remember how we did this? Let's not do that again. Like let's make this cleaner. And so I definitely want to start like a fresh project on a bunch of stuff. But anyway, that's kind of my thoughts right now. Is like probably sometime in like the spring. I'll probably pitch the game ideas. I'll let the community vote on which one they want to see have happen, and I'll just start at it. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do it solo. I don't know if I'll involve the dev team with it. We will see.
That sounds fun. I have some fun ideas. It'd be fun to sit down and chat off stream, or do a pitch on here. But well, cool. I think we've probably been going for like an hour 40 now.
Hour 40.
I think it's about time.
It's time, lads. All right, chat. Last minute questions. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Somebody wants to make a video game about you.
That's boring.
You got to get a lot of yaks.
Yep.
Yak Farmer Simulator.
Yak Rancher VR. Oh, those are fun games actually. Have you tried like Mo VR or like what's the other one? What's it called? Power Wash VR.
Yeah.
That one is so fun. I've put hours and hours into that
Really?
game. It is ridiculous.
It's like me with trading card store simulator.
Like literally, it's like I play a little bit of Call of Duty, and then I'm like, I can't take this, so I just switch over to Power Wash Simulator. It's like I can get things clean. I can't get my KD ratio over 1, but I can keep things clean. Garrett, I know you want to keep CLVR PvP fast paced, but trust me, a lot of people want it to be slower. We slowed it. We doubled the amount of health in World, guys. Are people still getting whipped so hard? Or Captain Pizza? Are you guys just inside of Dead Man's? That's been an interesting case, actually. Yeah. Hold peace in this election cycle? No comment. A new special skull on sale. Yes, we have plans for that, Dog Day. We do have a lot of plans for new skull types. We call them curses. We have a lot of cool ideas for curses. That'll be interesting. Playboy, Vietnamese, what is with you and Playboy Cardi, my guy? Calm down. Anyway. Cool, man. Well,
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was.
We appreciate you guys. Twas fun. Thanks for coming by. We'll be here next week. Look out for some of our shorts on our social media platforms. If you haven't followed us on TikTok or on YouTube, please jump on and make sure that you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week. If you haven't followed us, definitely go follow us. And that is all from us. We'll see you